Hello. Today I wanted to share a practice that stays really kind of close to the ground. So I've been doing quite a lot of floor-based movements, some nice relaxing kind of restorative stuff, but still moving with the breath and gently opening through the body. So to begin, I invite you to come to lie down, to find a position lying down that feels really comfortable to you. And you can either have the legs out long if that feels good, or if it feels more comfortable, you might bring sort of the legs bent with the feet on the ground. And just see if you can find somewhere that feels really supportive for the spine. So just taking your time to get there. And then when you do arrive down, we want to come into a position that really honours the natural curves of the spine. So we can begin by just relaxing the shoulders down, maybe shuffling them down a little bit, finding a sense of space between the shoulders and the ears. And then just checking in with the spaciousness of the lower back and around the sort of area of the hips as well. And if you feel like there is any tightness at all in the lower back, you can either bend the knees if they're not bent already, or if the legs are out long, you might bring them a little bit wider and just find a bit more space there. And then we can come to bring our awareness up to the neck and the head. And just bringing the head and neck in a position where there's actually still a little bit of space behind the neck, so chin is about parallel with the ground, but just finding where feels comfortable to you. And then as you make these little shuffles or movements, hopefully coming into a place that begins to feel more comfortable, then just see if you can allow the weight of the body to relax a little bit more into the ground. And as we begin to relax the weight of the body, we might become a bit more aware of the contact that our body is making with the ground below. And I just invite you to notice those contact points, notice those points where your body meets the ground, and just soften into those places. And then we can begin to bring our awareness into the front of the body as well, and just begin to soften through tops of the legs, the tops of the arms, shoulders, softening through the chest and the ribs and the belly. Maybe just noticing any areas of holding or tightness, and just allowing them to relax and settle. And then bringing awareness into the face and just beginning to relax through the area of the forehead, around the temples and the eyes, softening through the cheeks and into the area of the mouth and the jaw. Just inviting, allowing this sense of softening, of relaxing through the whole of the face. And then from this awareness and softening into the body, I invite you to bring your awareness to come and rest with your natural breath. And if you find it helpful, you can bring one hand to rest on the chest and the other hand to rest on the belly. And first of all, I just invite you to start to notice the movement of the breath, or the way that our breath just gently moves the body, even in this natural, quite quiet breath. If you're using the hands as feedback and support, just relaxing the weight of the hands down onto the body. And just seeing which part of the body moves as you breathe. You might notice that there is more movement in the chest or the belly as you're breathing naturally. And then opening up to a sense of feeling, of noticing the rise and the fall of the breath. So can you notice that as you breathe in, as you draw breath into the lungs, that there is this sense of expansion, of rising of the body. And as you breathe out, a gentle releasing, relaxing back. And then from this awareness of the rise and fall of the breath, we can begin to lengthen the breath, but still keeping it really nice and comfortable and smooth. The next time you breathe in, I invite you to draw the breath down towards the lower abdomen and see if you can just feel a bit more of a rise here. And then as you breathe out, slowly releasing the breath through the nose or the mouth, whatever feels good for you. And then let's just take a few cycles of breathing in this way, this slightly longer, more grounding breath, where we're just drawing the breath out from the chest to come down towards the abdomen, filling the lungs. And then releasing the breath slowly and smoothly. And then next time that you breathe out, I invite you to bring the arms down by the side of the body if they're not already. Palms facing down, keeping that length and smoothness of breath. Next time you breathe in, I invite you to float the arms up and overhead, but just to where feels comfortable for your shoulders, for your arms. And then as you breathe out, come to release the arms back down by the side of the body. And let's just do this a couple more times, allowing your in-breath to float the arms over. As you breathe out, beginning to release and settle the arms back down. Finding whatever breath works for you in this practice, but maybe just seeing if you can allow the breath to guide your movement. So we're almost waiting for the breath to begin before we initiate that movement. And then next time that the arms come down beside the body, just allowing them to rest there for a moment. And then we're going to draw the knees in towards the chest. And as the knees come in towards the chest, just bringing one hand on top of each knee. And then this is quite a small and subtle movement, a nice way to open or find a bit of space in the lower back. I'm going to take a breath in and just begin to guide the knees away, keeping the hands on the knees and just straightening through the arms. And then as you breathe out, beginning to draw the knees into chest, bending at the arms, at the elbows. And then just moving in and out of this movement. So sort of opening up to a bit of space as you breathe in, and then drawing the knees in as you breathe out, stretching through the lower back. And you might notice how you feel in the hips, in the lower back, maybe even in the shoulders, the spine. And we'll just come through this movement one more time. And then next time that you breathe out, you can just release the legs down, the feet can come down towards the ground, but keeping the legs bent for this next movement. You can rest the arms out to the side or on the body, whatever feels natural. And then taking a breath in, we're going to draw the left knee in towards the chest. And then as we breathe out, we're going to stretch the left leg all the way up towards the ceiling. It might straighten, it might stay bent. And then breathing out, we're going to draw the knee back into chest. And then eventually relaxing the leg down as you breathe out. And then we can come towards the other side. So breathing in, drawing the knee into chest. Breathing out, extending the leg up towards the ceiling. Breathing in to draw the knee back in towards the chest, and breathing out to release it back. So just moving with your own breath, finding the 4 parts of this movement. And as with the other 2 movements, just seeing if we can kind of be guided by the breath, allowing it to, the in-breath to draw the knee in, the out-breath to extend the leg up. Drawing back in again as we breathe in, and then settling back down. And let's just come one more time on each side of the body. Again, maybe noticing how it feels in the body, how it feels in the legs and the hips. Maybe noticing if one side feels different from the other. And then just letting both of the feet settle back down, keeping the knees bent, and then we're going to bring the feet a bit wider, so just a bit wider than you naturally would. If you're on a yoga mat, you might bring them as wide as the mat. And then you can either bring the arms out to the side if you've got enough space and that feels good, or let them rest on the body, whatever feels nice. And just allow the shoulders to relax. Check that the head and neck feels nice and comfortable. And taking a breath in here. And then as you breathe out, we're going to start to release the knees over towards the left side. Just allowing the hips to release over, the knees to release, the feet to roll onto their sides. And then taking a breath in, coming back through center. Then we're going to release to the opposite side. So we're just going to move kind of in and out of this windscreen wiper motion for the lower body. Allowing your in-breath to bring you back, and breathing out as you release the knees over to one side. Being guided by the breath, and also being aware of how it feels in the body, of maybe you might feel a sense of this rotation in the lower body, you might feel some spaciousness or tightness in the hips or the pelvis. And then coming one more time, or finishing the cycle that you're on, whatever feels natural to do so. And then we're going to bring the knees back to center, draw the knees into chest for a moment, and then I invite you to take a breath in and just find a nice big stretch, whatever that looks like, feels like to you. Stretching into the fingers all the way down to the toes, taking up space. Taking an extra breath here, and then as you breathe out, drawing the knees back in, sort of rounding through the spine. If it feels nice, you might rock from one side to the other, or just stay in stillness if that feels good today. And then whenever you do feel ready, we're going to start to just transition, rolling onto the side of the body or coming up in any way that feels comfortable to you. You're going to come and find any comfortable seat. So you might be sitting cross-legged, you might have the legs out long, or be up on the knees, whatever feels good to you. But just try and find somewhere that you can have a little bit of length in the spine, so it's not too much effort to sit here. And it might be helpful to sit up on a block or a pillow or any support, just to tilt the pelvis a little bit. And then whenever you do come into your position, I invite you to just notice how you feel in the lower body, find a sense of relaxing through the hips, grounding down through the lower body. And then finding this lightness, this slight lift through the spine, but still keeping the natural curve. So not overly sitting up straight that we're creating tension, but just finding a bit of lightness. And then supporting that by relaxing through the shoulders, allowing that space, that relaxation as the shoulders draw down. Bringing the head to where feels comfortable, so just checking the chin isn't drawing too far forward or too far back, but it's really nicely balanced. And then just softening into this position, just simply being in your body, sitting here, drawing awareness to your breath. And seeing if you can connect to whatever breath supports you in this practice, whether that's a slightly longer breath or just simply having awareness of your smooth breath. And then next time that you breathe in, I'm going to be here, and as you breathe out, I'm going to start to bring the head over towards the right side. So just as if you're gently looking over that shoulder, and then allowing your in-breath to bring you back, and as you breathe out we can come towards the other side, just enough that you feel a little bit of opening through the side of the neck. And just exploring this simple movement one more time on each side. And then next time that the head is back in center, we're going to draw our awareness to the shoulders and take a breath in. Just simply draw the shoulders up towards the ears. And then as you breathe out, release the shoulders down. And let's just do that 2 more times. So breathing in, drawing the shoulders up. Breathing out, relaxing the shoulders down. One more time, just with your own breath. And then whenever you are ready from here, I invite you to bring the hands in towards the heart center. Check that no tension has crept back in with the shoulders, so give them a shuffle or a release. And then drawing your breath in, beginning to bring the arms up overhead. And as you breathe out, circling the arms to the side, the fingertips might come to the ground or they might stay out to the side. Whatever feels good for your arms and your shoulders. And then taking a breath in, we're going to come the opposite way. So begin to rise back up. And then breathing out, relaxing the hands into your heart. Staying with this movement, in-breath finds that length, and out-breath circling down. Allowing your inhale to draw you back up. Softening the movement back down towards the heart as you breathe out. Staying with this movement, noticing how it feels in the body and just letting it be guided by your breath. Next time that the hands are in towards the heart, just pausing here, taking a little bit of a stop, a little bit of a pause. And then taking a breath in, bringing the arms back up over again. And this time we're going to come to a twist towards the right side. So beginning to sort of find a rotation from the middle of the body, allowing the arms to come, one arm behind, one arm on the leg. Allowing your in-breath to draw you back to center. And then finding that rotation as you breathe out towards the other side. Breathing back in, coming back through center, and then just exploring this one more time on each side of the body. And then next time that you come back to center, hands can come meet overhead, and then just sinking back down towards the heart space, relaxing the shoulders down, taking that pause. And then releasing the hands, You're doing maybe a bit of a shuffle for the shoulders. If you've got the legs crossed, or even if you haven't, just give the legs a little bit of a wobble, relax and release. And then we're going to move onto all fours. Actually, before we do that, so just coming into your comfortable seat again, I'm just going to rotate through the wrists a couple of times just to find a little bit of space before we come on. So you might make sort of fists with the palms and just start to reverse or come in circles one way and then the other way. Might see how it feels to open the hand a bit more. And then just give them a little bit of a shake, everything waking up a little bit. Lovely. And then we will begin to transition, so coming onto all fours, we're just going to bring the hands roughly underneath the shoulders and the knees roughly underneath the hips. And just see how that feels for your body. If you feel like you want to bring the hands a bit wider or a bit further out in front, making sure that you feel sort of spacious enough and supported enough. And then just check how your spine feels. Do you feel like you're already a bit rounded? Can you maybe relax through the upper back a little bit more? Bring the gaze down towards the ground. Then beginning to ground through the whole of the hands, so you're really nice and supported. I'm going to take a breath in and begin to open through the chest, to lift through the tailbone. Breathing out, beginning to draw the belly in as we round the spine. Letting your next inhale explore and open back up, opening through the chest, stretching through the front of the body. And then everything rounding, drawing inwards as we breathe out. And just see how this feels for your spine. So it might feel nice to make these movements a bit bigger or a bit smaller. You might notice where in the body you can most feel this movement. And just see if we can find that connection with the breath. So just allowing your breath to guide you between these two movements, or almost link and connect these movements. And then next time that you breathe out, instead of simply rounding the spine, I invite you to begin to sink the hips back towards the feet, lowering down into a child's pose. Forearms come down towards the mat. And then as we breathe in, leading with the chest as like before, we can start to rise back up. And then begin to find our rhythm between these two movements. So allowing your exhale to release you back down and your inhale to just roll and open you back up. And just see how it feels for you. It might feel enough just to simply come back a little bit and then open back up on your inhale to all fours, or it might feel nice to lower all the way down, relax the weight of the head down, the forearms down, the forehead down. Let's just move through this one last time. And then next time that you come up to more of an all fours position, just relaxing the chest and the tailbone, so it's more of a neutral position. The gaze can come down towards the ground. And then we're going to start to walk the hands over towards the right side. So just starting to bring the hands over, so we begin to open through the left side of the body. And we might come to a place of sort of natural resistance, or where we begin to notice that stretch, that opening. And you can either stay here, or if there is room, you might release the hips down a little bit further, just to see how that feels. But just stay with what feels good to you. And wherever you arrive to, I invite you to sort of settle in here, to allow your breath to rest into the stillness of this posture. And then next time that we breathe in, we can begin to walk the hands back, coming through the center, and then starting to walk towards the opposite side. Pausing at that place where you can just begin to feel that little bit of opening, of stretch. And then again, like last time, an option to stay here or to sink the hips back if that feels good. Whatever feels enough for you. And as we pause here, as we stay here, just drawing back or coming back to your breath, noticing the sound, how it feels. And then next time that you breathe in, we can come to walk the hands back, coming back towards the sort of center, the middle. And then we're going to sink back down into a child's pose. An option to bring the knees a bit wider, to come into a wide-legged child's pose. The feet might come together, they might stay apart, so it really will kind of look and feel different for everyone. And just see how it feels to sink the hips back, just to where feels enough for you. You might want to stay up on the forearms or make a bit of a pillow with the head, or it might feel okay to rest the weight of the head down. Giving enough room for your shoulders, and just allow your body to settle into this shape. And as you take a pause here or a moment here, seeing if we can even begin to relax a little more through the hips, through the shoulders, allow the body to be fully supported by the ground below. And just notice that gentle vibration of the breath or rhythm of the breath. And then taking your next breath in, we're going to come up towards all fours again. And then from here we're going to transition onto the back of the body again. So I'm going to make it back down. So I said in this video, we're going to stay really nice and low to the ground. Still moving the spine in all directions, but just keeping things nice and slow and grounded today. So coming back onto the back of the body. And when you arrive, I invite you to bend the legs again, to have the feet on the ground. And then just bringing the arms down by the side of the body. And the same, just checking in, the sort of shoulders are relaxed, and you've got that sense of space behind the neck. And then we're going to draw the chin in a little bit more. So just going to lengthen through the back of the neck. I'm going to begin to prepare for our bridge pose, so just making sure that the feet feel nicely grounded, that they're not too close to the body, that there feels any pressure in the knees, but they're not too far away, that it doesn't feel supported enough. And with bridge we can really just lift as much or as little as feels good for us. So finding that nice setup for the body, I invite you to draw the breath in and just see if we can start to lift with kind of the chest and the middle of the body. So taking a breath in, lifting up through the body. And then as we breathe out, we're going to lower the upper back, then the middle back, then the lower back. So we're kind of gradually releasing the spine down. Taking a breath in, lifting through the spine, finding that openness through the chest, and then breathing out, gradually releasing the spine down, rolling it down. Breathing in to open back up into your bridge pose. As you breathe out, releasing, settling down. And then an option to stay with this for a couple more rounds of breath, or we can bring some movement of the arms in as well. So As we breathe in, we begin to float the arms overhead, lifting up through the chest, through the body into our bridge pose. And then breathing out, releasing the arms down and gradually releasing the spine down as well. So whatever variation feels good for you, just exploring this. Just maybe 2 more times. And keeping this support from the breath, so really kind of drawing the breath in as you breathe in, releasing the breath out as you lower everything down. And then when you've completed those last rounds, then I invite you to draw the knees back in towards the chest and just find a little bit more of a roundness for the spine. And then I'm going to take a breath in and begin to bring the arms overhead, and the feet and the legs can extend up towards the ceiling. And then as we breathe out, just let everything settle back to where you began. And then breathing in, opening back out, breathing out to come back. And again, the legs might stay quite bent or they might straighten, whatever feels good for you. But this movement's really for the lower back, really finding that nice neutral movement for the lower back. Let's come 2 more times, just allowing the smoothness of your breath to guide your movement. And then when you've completed those last rounds, you can maybe hug the knees in or keep them in for another moment if it feels nice to rock, or find any movement really that feels good. And then when you feel ready, we're going to come onto the side of the body. So coming onto the right side of the body, the knees still bent. We're going to set ourselves up so the arms come out kind of directly from the shoulders. The head can relax down. You might want to put a little pillow under the head or keep it relaxed on the ground, whatever feels good to you. Then just see where feels comfortable for the knees. You might bring them in a little bit closer or a bit further away. And then waiting for or connecting back towards the breath. Taking a breath in, we're going to start to float that top arm up and then behind the body, just to where it feels good to come to. And then as we breathe out, we can begin to release the arm back. Breathing in to open the top arm, coming into this reclined twist, opening through the chest, through the middle of the body, through the shoulder. Breathing out to release us back. Finding your rhythm or just beginning to explore through this movement. And just see if we can allow the movement of the arms to feel just quite gentle, quite rhythmic, quite soft. It feels good, finding that length of breath to support the length of the movement. And then you can either stay with moving the arm in or out, or if it feels good to you, you might take a pause in this twist. So see how it feels to leave the arm behind. And if this feels too much for the shoulder, you can either rest the arm on the body or the hand on the hip. So finding what feels good for you and just allowing the weight of the body to relax, opening up to a little bit more of a softer, relaxed kind of place in this posture. Bringing or inviting your awareness of body, of breath. And just letting the weight of the body be held and reassured by the ground below. See if there is any places in the body where you can perhaps relax a little more or release a little bit of holding, of tension. And then when you're ready, taking a breath in, we can begin to float the arm back over, coming to lie back on the side of the body. And then whenever you're ready, we can start to transition, coming onto the back of the body, and then we're going to come straight onto the other side. You might want to hug the knees in first, or maybe even take a bit of a stretch in between. And then when you do feel ready, you're going to come to lie on the opposite side of the body. Having the knees bent and the arms out in front, setting yourself up in that same way and just taking time to feel comfortable. And then taking a breath in, beginning to open the arm out, finding your twist on this side of the body, and then letting your exhalation just float the arm back, release the arm back. Breathing back in to open back out. Settling, softening back as you breathe out. And just moving with your own breath in this movement. If it feels nice for the head and the neck to sort of follow the movement of the arms as well, you can explore that and just really listen to your body. And then an option, if you did with the first side, to keep with this movement, or if you fancy exploring a little bit of stillness in this posture, just letting the arm come behind the body, seeing how that feels for the shoulder. If it does feel too tight, or if the arm is kind of not making contact with the ground, you can either bring a support underneath or rest the hand on the hip instead. So we still get that really nice rotation, but it's just not too much pressure for the shoulder. So find where feels good for you, find where feels comfortable for your head and your neck. If you'd like a little bit more spaciousness in the lower back, you can always draw the knees in a bit more and just play around with these postures, with yoga, with what feels good. And then once you find somewhere that does feel like you'd like to stay, I invite you to just relax the weight of the body down. Soften into this shape, into this place. Noticing your breath and its role in this posture, just being here, being with the breath. You might notice the openness of the chest in this pose, that our breath can really easily come in and out of the body. And taking a few last moments here, and then whenever you're ready, we can begin to take a breath in, draw the arm back over, come back lying onto the side of the body. Taking a pause here, and then when you feel good, we can start to come back onto the back of the body. And again, like before, you might want to hug the knees in, or it might feel natural to do that, and then stretch the body out a little bit if that feels good, taking a nice full body stretch. And then just seeing if there's any extra little movements that you feel that are natural, that feel good in this moment before we come towards our Shavasana. So it might just feel nice to kind of wobble out the legs a little bit, maybe shake and release the arms. It might feel nice to rotate through the knees or the hips a few times, rotate through the ankles, or just any little movement at all that feels good. And then whenever you have made those last movements, it might have even been just staying still, then I invite you to come and make your way towards our Shavasana, so coming towards any comfortable posture to just come and rest and absorb your practice. So that might be lying on the back of the body, on the side, on the front. You might add an extra layer or a blanket or a pillow. But just take your time to arrive here. Don't settle somewhere that is not really uber comfy. So shuffling the shoulders away from the ears, just finding that spaciousness for the spine, for the arms, the legs. Deciding if it feels nice to have the arms out by the side of the body or maybe resting on the body in some way. And then beginning to bring your awareness to wherever it is that your body is making contact with the ground, and just letting those contact points really support you and be an invitation to relax into them. Relax the weight of your body, softening through, relaxing any effort of the breath, and just simply being here and resting here for these last moments of the practice. Beginning to bring your awareness back towards your body and your breath. Invitation to stay here even longer if you have the opportunity. But if you don't, you might begin to start to bring some movement into the body, maybe just simply wiggling the fingers, the toes, And then just let that grow. If it feels nice to begin to stretch the body out, if it feels nice to make any rotations through the body. Just finding a gentle transition, and then whenever you're sort of ready or whenever it feels good, you might hug the knees in and just give yourself a nice, lovely, warm hug, hugging the knees in. And then beginning to transition, coming up in any way that feels comfortable, and just bringing yourself back towards a comfortable seat, whatever feels good for you. And then when you arrive there, just taking a moment to relax through the lower body, maybe keeping the eyes closed for a moment or the gaze soft. And just finding that little bit of lightness through the spine, that relaxation and space through the shoulders. Allowing the weight of the body to just ground you here, allow it to anchor you here in this moment. And then we can draw the hands in towards the heart space and just take one sort of conscious breath together, taking a breath in, releasing, relaxing the breath out. And then thank you for practicing with me today, and namaste. Thank you, everyone.